All right, everybody, the old biker chess dude says this is the game we're looking at first. This game is going to be one that I think you're going to really enjoy. It's between two determined and creative opponents that we have here today. We have, as playing white pieces, Dennis the Destroyer versus the one and only, our own ChessVets, Mike the Navy Lennox. That's right. He's representing the whole Navy, baby. Being a submarine individual that he is, he likes to hide under the water. He's very sneaky. And you never see where he's coming from. And that's what this game is all about. Again, it's going to start off with our game 5 with 5-second increments. So starting off out there, the Destroyer figures he's got to be creative. He's got to do something wild, some stuff that he did that Mike is not going to expect. So he starts off with a basic E4. I mean, I said, my goodness, that's pretty basic. Mike feeling him out, come out there with turning with E5. And here is where the Destroyer decides to try to throw him a curveball here. He comes out there and plays Knight C3. Now, normally we would go out there with Knight F3 to attack the pawn, but at least he's putting power in the center. Very good. Mike decides to throw a curveball right back at him, playing C6. Now you would go over there and you're saying, my goodness, maybe he's going to be looking for that D5 breakout here. But he's right. That's probably what he's going to do. But normally the C6, F6, C3, C basically squares that the knights go to. They attack in the center and support you there because of their unusual jumping around tactics. But over here, each one is trying to pull something different on the other one. You can tell this is going to be a game of maneuverability and tactics. He comes back out, bringing up the Knight F3, attacking the pawn, defends the pawn with bishop to D6. You're going to go, what kind of move is that? Is that really a move? Because, I mean, you look at the bishop. It seems to be breaking a lot of the rules. It's in front of the queen's pawn, which is blocking in his light squid bishop and protecting that piece. Oh my goodness, is this really something? Well, let's take a look at where this game might have come from. If we look back into we have two, or at least master strength, that have decided to play their game exactly from here. White is Kirilla Stupkat with Maria Gregorian. I'm sorry for the mispronunciation of the names I butcher up there. But if you look at it right here, again, these individuals have been doing a little bit of preparing because they are following this game right off, move for move. Back to the game. Now we come up there. Y goes up with G3, wants to open up, wait for maybe for his castling up there. This is where they leave the following the master game. Again, Mike decides to reposition the dark squared bishop. He's ready for that pawn break into the D5. When will it come? I don't know, but we're going to find out. White decides that pawn break is going to come. He's going to be ready. He places the bishop on H3 to C8 diagonal, again, to exert some pressure against that D pawn in case it does move. Mike says, oh my goodness, I fear nothing. He strikes with the D5 pawn. He's going up there. This could be something right here. Now, has this been a bit of planning by the Destroyer himself? Is this going to be going up here? He's got a pawn coming at him. What is the Destroyer going to do? The Destroyer decides that he's going to play a little defensive maneuver here, a little passive by playing D3, protecting his strong point. But by golly, I think the Destroyer overlooked something. The H3 bishop now is hanging by itself. There's no one protecting it. And seeing that this opportunity exists, oh, the Navy strikes. There you go. It smashes, then takes that up. That bishop on H3, and now Mike is up by a piece. But the Destroyer is not to be uncounted for. I'm telling you, watch what goes on. It's great. It's going to be great. He plays the bishop to G5, attacking the queen. Now Mike brings out his knight. He's going to try to do some canceling up here. Queen to D2. He's creating his battery. The Destroyer is going to probably castle queen side. This is what it's looking for. Still, we've got that pawn tension on the D5 square. Look at the D5 square. Knights and pawns. Now, even though he does have pieces of his guarding the D5 square, otherwise it says the knight is pinned and cannot participate in the defense. Again, Mike knows this. He pushes the pawn up to D4. Black is encroaching upon White's camp and gaining space. Got to retreat the knight. Black decides king safety. Very good. The destroyer says, I can do king safety too. Both kings are castle. Opposite side castling. And what does that mean? That means usually pawn storms going against each other's king. The center seems to be pretty locked up, but there's always a way. Now comes a move that not many people realize. Here it comes. Mike decides to play f6. Notice all those pawns on dark squares from the g7 to the d4. Everywhere he goes, this bishop is gonna be in trouble. And then on top of that, if he falls back to get out of the way, his only available square, he can play g4, 5 himself and trap the bishop. What White gonna do? Let's see, the destroyer, never count him out. Coming back, he plays bishop h6. This has got to be something. You're wondering, why would this man want to play bishop h6? He's got to play it. If I'm going to lose it, he's going to give himself something for it. Pawn takes, but the queen comes back and it takes advantage of the king's pawn cover being stripped away. He's not going to go away empty-handed. Mike says, okay, well, I can just sit there. I don't have to take it. He comes out there and attacks the knight. Now, here's one thing we want to suggest up there, too. He could have played bishop to g2. That way, the knight just can't dance away, like maybe knight to e1 or something. And that way, the bishop, if he takes something, he will get taken himself. But by going here to g2, he could attack both pieces and still have an opportunity to take something and not get taken himself. All right, but he goes there. Keep on going. The destroyer is still on the move. Plays h3, kicks that bishop, puts the question to the bishop. What you thinking there, mon frere? Good idea, but unfortunately, the destroyer once again overlooks another thing, that the knight is not protected. Bam! The rook is now under attack. He moves the rook off the white square and starts pounding up and does this kind of X-ray attack, if you want to call it, up and down the G file, which is right in front of his king. Black's rook goes up there to f7, guarding the pawns. He's getting his other rook out of the way from the pin of the knight from the bishop. And all of a sudden, whoa! Mike again strikes with a devastating smash as he brings the bishop to a5. Notice the skewering attack from the a5 square to the e1 square. This got queen and you got the rook. One moves away, the other one gets the hammer! What are you going to do with this? I'm telling you, this is something. All right, but again, the destroyer's mind is working. He's using every bit of energy he's got. What does the destroyer do? I'll tell you what he does. He plays the pawn, b4. Oh boy, there it is. Bishop can't take the pawn unless he wants to get smashed himself. The bishop has to retreat back. Finally, the destroyer says, I've had enough of this. If the king he's given him enough rounds to double up his pawns and him to grab, he's just gonna take it. Rook takes back, queen strikes against the now semi-exposed king. If you're Mike, you gotta be saying to yourself, what is the odds of me winning? My king's getting a little drafty. My pieces are kind of around, but he's got a lot of points, but they're just not coordinated as of yet. So he starts going through his bag of tricks. And Mike's got a bag, I'm telling you, big old duffel bag full of tricks. So he pulls out what is we're seeing here with this a5 pawn move, theory of two weaknesses. Okay, he's maybe going to be able to distract White from his attack by creating a problem for him on the other side of the board. Will this work? Let's find out. At this point now, the destroyer says, I gotta rip me open some king. He's bringing some extra pawns to start tearing apart the obstacles in front of his ultimate target, the black king. The a5 pawn was attacking the b4 pawn. Destroyer, rage building in him, seeing the target, and he ignores the b4 pawn. The destroyer, he's like a berserker. Once he gets a target, when he gets something in his mind, he's got blinders on, he's going for it, he's gonna choke the life out of it. We'll see if that works out. He brings up the knight. He needs to bring more pieces. Pieces win the battle. Pawns just occupy. Pieces win the battle. Again, now the rook coming down, smashing the destroyer's a pawn. We got to check that could probably up here and disrupt a whole lot of Black's pieces. He's got a wonderful piece going up there. The bishop doing some wonderful control between D1 and E2. He's got a rook now that can jump back in there. Destroyer's getting a little hot in the kitchen there. He don't care. He goes straight for the goal. He knows what he needs to take, and he knows how to take it. The rook is under attack. This is getting something up there. He's got to start now. Black's gonna, Mike, a lot of things you can see. You can see what he's doing. He knows he's got. I can see him at the board. He's doing this. He's doing this. What is this combination? This intense calculation in Mike's mind. He knows his king is the destroyer is zooming in on him. But Mike knows that fair winds will lead your ship to ultimate victory. So we'll see where he goes from here. Brings in the knight, attacks the rook. Rook comes up, attacks the queen. Knight takes f6. We're giving that an exclam, by golly, up there. A check to the king. Rook cannot take the queen. No. He's got to answer the check. If the rook takes the knight, an exchange plus for the destroyer. He has to. He can't leave that knight there. If he moves somewhere else, it could be mate. Take away those pieces. The queen comes back. Now look at the position here, folks. Black has more pieces. Black's pawn structure is kind of locking up down white. But look at the activity he has. White is all over the place. Destroyer's counting on total chaos to bring him some victory. He's got the queen is barreling down upon the bishop. The queen is looking at the e-pawn. The queen has got the knight pinned a bit. The king is still open. What is gonna snap? Something's gotta give. And what gives is a check. Rook to A1. He goes up there and attacks the rook. Exchanges a pairs of rooks. The bishop gets the heck out of the way because it wants to live for another day. The queen goes check, check on E6. He runs back into the corner. He takes the e-pawn, check again. Oh my goodness. The destroyer is starting to build into a battle rage. Brings and come back up again. Now here's where he got a point. You got two pieces versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of black. Once black gets himself organized, you're just running out of bodies. So we'll consider a perpetual check, maybe claim this one as a draw, or will the battle lust overtake the destroyer? He just goes for the victory regardless. Of course he goes for the victory. What kind of man do you think he is? He takes a pawn. The queen comes up for a check. The knight blocks. The queen comes out there. Now he's got a little something. Now he's got a little something. Every time he moves a piece up there, he starts to coordinate a bit. Now, when you're down in pieces, don't trade. That is the cardinal rule because you need something to fight with. The destroyer just can't help himself. He trades. The bishop comes back. The king comes up to start doing some kind of fighting. Knight comes down. He's got two pieces striking up on the G-pawn. The king comes and starts policing up pawns. He can wipe out some pawns. Maybe he's got a shot because he's got some great pass pawns. If you look on E, F, and G, he still has some power. Well, E and F at last. Bishop takes pawn. King comes up. Check. Back he comes. The knight comes down. Fork! Oh my gosh, a smash! And he removes his last piece. The berserk fury of the destroyer, unfortunately, is working against him now. Black has got four pieces up, and he says, this has got to be something. He's got to win, but time is of the essence. Both clocks are running down. Who can do it? We continue on. He figures, pawns are my only break. I got to take them. Comes back with the bishop. Up with the pawns. The knight's bringing forth. The king comes over to protect. Check goes to his majesty. The king comes back to kick the knight. The king thinks he can take the knight. There! Another exclam point. Bishop check. Bishop protects the knight indirectly, and the king has got very few places to go that are going to be of a whole lot of use at the moment. Finally, the destroyer is starting to weigh up his options. It ain't looking good. Hides down in the back row. The Navy man comes and starts coordinating his pieces. Running out of time and luck, the mighty destroyer decides, damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead, I gotta get a queen. but you're dealing with the Navy. Oh, he just comes in there at the last minute and stops the pawn from coming up there and queening. At this point, now we're just playing some moves. He's running out of time. Time pressure is really hitting the destroyer. He's bringing up his king. The king doesn't even know. He's thinking, maybe I can get him to give me a perpetual. But at the last second, the time falls. A merciful end for the destroyer and a complete victory up there for our Navy man himself, the one and only Mike Lennox. I'm telling you guys, if you see the point and you go over the games here, you know the tension, the immense grinding metal versus metal sharpening on that. The edges are getting finer all the time. We need you to come and be a part of this particular event that we got going. ChessVets, Wednesday nights, the place to be for fellowship and to serve. Well, of course, it's for veterans, but we have everybody coming on in. And remember, my oath doesn't expire. I love it. I love it. We got some more games we're going to show you here, so don't go away. We'll be back with you at the next game.